First and foremost, I would like to say that all of the talks that have come before me are the right mix of inspiring and intimidating for me to adrenaline rush my way through the next 6 minutes of my life. So my topic is a case for the 5-year anti-plan, and full disclosure, I planned the pants off this talk. I wrote myself a speech, I was really excited about it, I even had a delightful copy-edited copy, thank you, Mom. And as I was rehearsing it with a friend last night, they pointed out the delightful irony that I was trying to nail down something about an anti-plan. I was planning a talk about not planning. So here I am with a note card, not remembering what's on my 2 sheets of paper because that was, 12 hours ago. So here we go. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, parade soon to be rained on. This is me at my college graduation. I went to college for fashion design and apparel merchandising, and halfway through my 5th year, I call it a victory lap, I realized I didn't want to be a fashion designer. I would sooner die than try to make it into New York. I wanted to write things. But in the interest of health insurance and making money, I decided to go into advertising. I was very hell-bent on not returning to Fort Wayne. I was not going back. Hometown, too cool for it, whatever, no big deal. Big deal now. College graduate, right. So I set my sights on Chicago, and basically the entire Windy City turned me down. So I started looking towards Nashville. Lots of cool people, knew a few friends moving there. The Athens of the South also did not think I was a big deal. So reluctantly, I headed home to my parents' house, to a twin bed with a cat in tow. Very exciting. And I was going to stay for 6 months tops, and I've now lived in Fort Wayne again for about 2 years, and honestly, now I'm pretty psyched about it. Yeah. It's always nice to hear that other people like the place where you live, even if they live there too. So I haven't been planning much. I've been winging a lot of things. I was an intern for 9 months. It's a long time to sit in a mailroom, but I can stuff envelopes really fast. And I've been on the non-planned plan. I have a lot of student loan debt. I lived with my parents until I was almost 25, and I'm making it work, and I'm having fun. So now I will tell you about winging it with an outline. Winds of Fate is the single greatest life philosophy I've ever adopted. I latched onto this during my victory lap. And it's perfect because you just say Winds of Fate on any given Thursday, and you see where blind luck, questionable judgment, and your friends take you. It usually works out for the best, usually. And Winds of Fate actually works really perfectly after you graduate. There are so many different things that you encounter. It's the first time in your life that's not scheduled. You don't have semesters, you don't have breaks, you don't have a major anymore. Nothing stops. There's no scheduled endpoint now. Everything is yours. You can do absolutely nothing with it. You can do everything with it. You just have to be willing to let whatever happens, happens, and you kind of go from there. And very often, you luck out and you spend 2 weeks at home, and then you get an internship in the advertising industry, or you also work retail, or you meet someone else who's interested in things and directs a rap video with you. Just wing it for a while. Winds of Fate. It'll work. And if it doesn't, it'll work later and you'll be fine. Nothing to lose can be your single greatest asset. When you're young, you don't have a mortgage probably, or maybe you don't have kids or a car payment, or some gigantic responsibility that just leans over you and rains on your parade constantly. So, if you don't have a giant budget that you have to live up to, why can't you try to start a business? Why can't you volunteer for half of your time if your cost of living is next to nothing? Because all you need are ramen noodles and rent. And also, in this day and age, between the internet and Facebook, you might have already doomed yourself. If these kinds of things out you are already there, you might as well roll with it. This is a fantastic day that might have made it online, and at worst, it rules out people you probably didn't want to spend 40 hours a week with anyway. So, remember that you have nothing going on, you have nothing to lose. I'm not wishing bankruptcy on anyone, so don't try too hard because your student loans don't go away if you declare bankruptcy, so you kind of got to keep that in check. But if you only eat beans for a month because you printed t-shirts for your band, it's not actually a big deal. You'll come back from that. Use your life as a laboratory. Yeah, I couldn't resist. Science Cat is pretty perfect for that. So when you're an entry-level cog in the machine, as many of us under 30 are, you have a lot of free time. you've got a shocking amount of freedom. You might be pretty boxed in at work and in your cubicle, but as soon as you walk out that door, your work probably doesn't follow you if a lot of it involves alphabetizing things. So through this free time, you have infinite time to get involved with things. You can blaze your own trail, you can start a nonprofit, you can do whatever you want. You keep the constants in your life that you need because, once again, Sally Mae and landlords like it when you pay them on time. But then other than that, you can push one activity out of the water at a time, and you can scale it back if you don't like it. You can figure out if something is a productive challenge that makes you want to try harder and fight more, or if it's a challenge to not hate. You should also push your social life to the max. Sometimes you wind up drunk on a Tuesday, and you just gotta embrace it. But while you're saying yes to all of these things and pushing your life to the max and just going absolutely to the edge and volunteering constantly while working 40 hours a week at your regular job and 12 hours a week waiting tables, and then you also got retail because you want a discount, they're good, I recommend it. Get a side job, great plan. Side joke, oh yeah, push things out of the water, moving on. And as you're doing this, you also find things that you need to say no to. You might spread yourself too thin, very dangerous thing. And so even though it sucks saying no to someone or backing out on a commitment, it's even worse to half-ass something that you didn't want to do in the first place, because you're in a shitty situation and so is the person you've committed something to. Say no, don't just mess it up. Take chances, make mistakes, get messy. People have been laying pretty heavy on stay hungry, stay foolish recently, and although I have utmost respect for Mr. Jobs and made this presentation using Keynote, I have more of a bond with Ms. Frizzle and the Magic School Bus. It's actually where my science education basically topped out. I'm more arts focused. But I learned a lot from Ms. Frizzle, and not just about the digestive system or deserts or the solar system, even though those are all awesome episodes. I learned that it was okay to mess up. Messing up is a legitimate option. In its own way, failure usually works. And when it does work, it's pretty awesome. And I've also learned since I've come home that Fort Wayne is a great place to fail. And it's also a great place to flourish. We're established enough that you can join in right away as soon as you get home and unpack your one-bedroom apartment into your parents' house. But there's also enough wiggle room that you can blaze a trail. You can create your own things to get involved in. Sorry, I just love that picture. So ultimately, none of us went to college to learn about art history, economics, and most of us, some people come home reluctantly. But what you learn from college and you apply to your hometown, Fort Wayne, is resourcefulness, adaptability, the shocking ability to live on cheap beer and macaroni and cheese for weeks on end. These are the skills that we have. They're applicable to everything. Remember those skills and remember those lessons. And don't start off on the wrong foot. Start running, even if you don't have a route planned.